How many of you had a cup of coffee today? Can you raise your hands? Excellent. Good to see my fellow coffee lovers in the audience and to know that you're caffeinated. So if you have had coffee or chocolate or rice, you've already tasted the good work of the world's smallholder farmers. I'm super inspired by these farmers. There's about 500 million of them. They turn an acre of land into a miracle when they produce enough food for themselves and their community and enough for us. They often have really diverse plots, maybe a dozen crops, some animals, and some trees, and this comes from both a respect for tradition and a deep understanding of all that can go wrong in a season. Maybe if these crops fail, these will make it, and the family can avoid hunger. And that's the irony, that most of the world's hungry actually grow food. And it doesn't have to be that way. I've been working in service of these smallholder farmers for my career, but I actually grew up on a farm in Iowa, and I married into a Kansas farming family. And I've seen that farmers everywhere have some DNA that they share. One is that they watch their neighbor farmers to see what they're doing. They watch the weather, and if they get compelling advice on how to farm better, they take it. And here in the US, that's often delivered via a paid advisor and a satellite-directed tractor and maybe some in-field sensors. But if you're in a smallholder community, usually advice comes from an extension agent on the back of a motorcycle, navigating through washed-out roads, probably without enough money in their pocket for gas to get to the next farmer. In Nigeria, for example, there's one extension agent for every 6,000 farmers. Imagine how often you would see your doctor if they had 6,000 other patients to see. Maybe once every 2 years, if it wasn't raining. And for farmers like the ones that grew your coffee, getting the right advice at the right time makes all the difference. At the organization where I work, Digital Green, we've been trying to work on solving this problem for the better part of 20 years. And the principle guiding all of our work has been putting the voice of the farmer at the center. What are they saying they need, and what wisdom are they sharing with their fellow farmers that we could amplify? First, we tried video for many years. Then, as farmers got smartphones, we started to work with chatbots, but they always failed in the face of the real diversity of needs that these smallholder farmers have. But in 2023, we launched our first AI-powered chatbot, and immediately we could tell that there was a difference. Now, 2 years later, we have over 300,000 installs, over 5 million questions have been answered in 10 languages. And I really think this could scale to all farmers, but you'd have to keep the farmer voice at the center. So how would we do that? The first thing is we need to teach AI the languages that smallholder farmers speak. They speak neglected languages often, not the ones big tech is focused on. So it needs to speak their language, but not just that, it needs to understand them. So if you think about the word rust, you probably think something like that. But if a farmer says something that relates to the word rust, they probably mean that. This is a coffee cherry, and that disease on that plant is called coffee rust, and it can wipe out 50% of your coffee crop. I'm pretty motivated to avoid a world running out of coffee, I'll be honest. So this is the first step. The second step is we need to actually train AI to be effective and locally relevant. So I think of a farmer in India, Bihar, who told us he really didn't like our product, didn't trust it. Why was that? Well, he had asked it a question, and it had told him to apply an amount of manure that was literally impossible for him to get in his community. So factually correct, but practically wrong. How do you fix that? Well, there's one concept called reinforcement learning from human feedback, my one and only AI term for the day. This is Aparna. Aparna is a PhD in agricultural science expert from Bihar. She's been working with farmers there for over 10 years, and she's part of a team of experts that have now scored and corrected 10,000 questions and answers that were generated through our app. So Aparna and these other wise experts correct the outdated advice, and they make the AI the best version for Bihar. That's how you help make this a wise tool for farmers. But the third thing we need to do is all these conversations are generating a lot of data. So we need to listen to the farmers when we see the data. For example, we can now see patterns by the month of the year and the topics farmers are interested in. That dark square is telling you that farmers are really struggling with pests and diseases in this part of the year. And we can see exactly which ones. So if you're an agricultural scientist or a policymaker, you can and should use this kind of data to shift your priorities to better serve the farmer. And it can actually be cheap enough for the first time. We're seeing really exciting results. In fact, in India, the frontline workers or the extension agents told us 57% said their lives were improved by using this tool. Also in India, 80% of farmers said that they did something different after just 1 month of access. And it used to cost $35 through traditional extension in person in India to shift one farmer's practice. It now is costing mere cents. It could scale to all the world's farmers. So yes, AI is absolutely changing our world. But I think we can take some responsibility for shaping and reshaping it. It doesn't have to be some distant black box. It can be more transparent. It can be participatory. It can be evergreen. And I'm hoping to help support keeping AI focused on the farmer and their voice. But you might have ideas for how it can be focused on the needs of a social worker or nurses, or maybe you've got ideas about how to protect endangered frogs. By the way, I'm very interested if that's you. I don't know anything about that. Or you might decide you want to be part of a participatory crowdsourcing process to make AI more diverse and responsive to all of us. I didn't start out wanting to work in AI. I actually find it pretty overwhelming some days and even stressful and worrying. But I try to channel that and turn it into curiosity on behalf of these farmers. And that would be the invitation I'd leave you with, is if you find yourself feeling overwhelmed about the ways that AI is reshaping our world, try to turn it into curiosity. And then, after a cup of coffee and a moment of gratitude for the farmer who grew it, move into action. Thank you.